Welcome to HDA Care's training on sexual harassment. In recent years, the topic of sexual harassment in the workplace has been brought into the national spotlight, bringing with it renewed awareness about the serious and unacceptable nature of these actions and the severe consequences that follow. At HDA Care, preventing sexual harassment is critical to our continued success. HDA's policy regarding sexual harassment is one of zero tolerance. This means that sexual harassment in any form will not be tolerated, and swift disciplinary action, up to and including termination, will be taken against those who engage in sexual harassment. The purpose of this training is to set forth a common understanding about what is and what is not acceptable in the HDA Care workplace. It will help you better understand what is considered sexual harassment, including definitions and types, who the targets and perpetrators of sexual harassment can be, when and where sexual harassment can happen, how to report sexual harassment internally to HDA management, as well as your options for reporting sexual harassment to external state and federal agencies that enforce anti-discrimination laws. Now, it's time to learn what sexual harassment is. Sexual harassment is any unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature. Sexual harassment is a form of sex discrimination and is unlawful under federal, state, and local law. Sexual harassment includes harassment on the basis of sex, sexual orientation, self-identified or perceived sex, gender expression, gender identity, and the status of being transgender. In this training, we will discuss the following types of sexual harassment: hostile environment, quid pro quo, and sex stereotyping. First, let's talk about hostile environment. In hostile environment sexual harassment, unwelcome sexual conduct creates a hostile, intimidating, or offensive work environment. Such conduct can be visual, verbal, or physical. Visual examples of hostile environment include displaying sexually demeaning or pornographic pictures, posters, objects, or other materials where coworkers can see them. Making sexually oriented gestures or facial expressions. Sharing pornography or sexual images on computers, mobile devices, via email or text. Verbal examples of hostile environment include making sexual sounds or noises, referring to coworkers by sexual or demeaning names such as baby or hottie, remarking or commenting or asking about a person's sexuality or sexual experience, telling stories or jokes that are sexual in nature, requesting repeatedly for dates after being turned down. Physical examples of hostile environment are touching a person in a sexual way, including patting, hugging, grabbing, massaging, or accidentally brushing against another employee's body. Assaults such as rape, sexual battery or violence, molestation, or attempts to commit these assaults are included as well. Another type of sexual harassment is quid pro quo, which is a legal term meaning a trade. Quid pro quo sexual harassment occurs when a person in a position of authority uses threats or promises of rewards in return for sexual favors. Examples of threats that could be used if sexual favors are refused include denial of a promotion or a raise, undesirable changes to shifts, job location or assignments, negative job evaluations, or losing your job. Examples of job benefits that may be offered or granted in exchange for sexual favors include better working conditions, shifts, job locations or assignments, getting hired, promoted, or receiving a positive job evaluation. Now we're going to cover sex stereotyping. Sex or gender stereotyping is a type of harassment which occurs when conduct or personality traits are considered inappropriate simply because they may not conform to other people's ideas or perceptions about how individuals of a particular sex or gender should act or look. Examples of sex stereotyping can include harassing or discriminating against a person because that person does not conform to gender stereotypes as to appropriate looks, speech, personality, or lifestyle. Harassment or discrimination because someone is performing a job that is usually performed or was performed in the past, mostly by persons of a different sex. Now that we've learned about the types of sexual harassment, it's time to understand who can be the target of sexual harassment. Anyone can be the target of sexual harassment, regardless of their sex, gender, or role in the workplace. New York law protects employees, paid or unpaid interns, as well as non-employees, such as independent contractors and those employed by vendors who provide services in the workplace. Additionally, witnesses to sexual harassment, even if they aren't the recipients of the harassment themselves, can be affected and have rights under the law. Similarly, any person of any gender can be the perpetrator of sexual harassment. It can be a coworker, superior, supervisor, manager, or someone who reports to you. The harasser can also be any third party or person that you interact with through Pelicare, including a non-employee, nurse or patient, contract worker, intern, vendor, client, customer, or visitor.